Now, what about miscellaneous settings? What can you configure the B2B portal to do? So I'm gonna go to System Settings in the bottom left-hand side. We've already gone over how in my profile settings, a lot of these things get applied to the B2B portal, especially that logo right there. A lot of these addresses. Okay. But let's go over some of the other things. First off, B2B portal settings. Let's go over this. So we have a global settings for the product template. So this is the default product template. If I don't have something actually applied to a customer or a user, to a company or to a contact, rather, then this default product template is going to be applied, okay? Ignore the naming here. We call it client purchase order. These are wholesale sales orders. These are the B2B portal orders. Just ignore this. This is override approval process. So that is actually the default to all system settings. This is something that will likely change in the future, by the way. We'll probably roll this up under global approval settings, but for now, this is how you use approval settings. So you can actually configure the portal to have an approval setting. If I untoggle this, then what that means is every order that is submitted, I have to approve before it actually hits as an invoice, or before it actually pushes to like an OMS like ShipStation, or pushes to another WMS, or pushes to QuickBooks. It's kind of like just an approval process. So the default is that this is not turned on. So if somebody just submits something and it just comes through. So you have to talk with your customer on whether or not they want that, or what they want the trigger to be to push an invoice to QuickBooks or push a sales order to ShipStation. These are the payment instructions that will pop up in the B2B portal. This is the display message, your company footer. This is the text description that pop up at the checkout page. So this is the custom text to the card details of the checkout page. So these are just notes that you can add to give better visibility to the customer if they're checking out and they're potentially confused. This stuff is all pretty straightforward. It shows up on the checkout page. So for example, if I add something to my cart, just add one of each of these. Bulk add to cart. All right, so a lot of what you're seeing here, this is configurable in the system settings. So really everything that you're seeing in this checkout page, this is why it's relevant. I could be displaying different things when I place the order. Company footer, text description at checkout, obviously the logo, which is right there. This I think is really important actually. In this checkout page, there's a bunch of random things that probably don't make sense unless I describe them or unless I explain them. So first off, allow add to cart for 0 item price. All this means is some people prefer to use the portal as something that there's no price value for some customers. In other words, it's just like creating a removal order. There's no concept of a price, so we had to allow this. So the logic is that you should have to pay for something, you should have to transact. So we added this in if you're a customer who just wants to like put in some removal order or like put in an order request and not have to care about price or anything. There's no transaction really happening. You can toggle this. It will allow you to add something to your cart with that is $0. This next one, allow add to cart out of stock items. So this is just people who, they don't want to do pre-orders the conventional way of doing pre-orders, because Luminous does have a way to do pre-orders. Say you don't want to do that. You just want the ability to add something that's out of stock, for them to just put something on back order or to do a version of a pre-order, or just to stack up as many orders as possible, not caring about stock. We allow people to do that. So it's not going to let you add something that's out of stock unless you toggle this, okay? Allow checkout for 0 order total. Same thing, like this, it's kind of a mix or like the finishing touches of this feature. So not only will you be able to add something to your cart that it has a $0 price, but we'll also allow you to check out if the entire price of the order is 0. You'd be surprised. There's actually quite a few clients who actually use it like that. This is a big one as well. Allow no payment checkouts. There's a lot of, Luminous has a really flexible flow for payments in the B2B space. So what clients will use is, let's say for example, you place the order in the B2B portal and you don't want to collect payment, you want the order to come through, you want us to auto-generate an invoice, push that to QuickBooks, and then QuickBooks has a automatic payment that you don't want to change, we can do that. That's why we would allow no payment checkouts. Or maybe you want the portal to come in, get approved, and then you take payment over the phone. That's the reason for this. I'd be surprised if most of our customers will probably do this, the no payment checkout. It's effectively like you submit an order, it needs to get approved, and then it can go through whatever payment method you want, like manually charging over the phone, which you can do in Luminous, through the invoicing if you click add payment. Or again, auto pushes an invoice to QuickBooks, QuickBooks has an automatic payment, and then we pull the payment back into Luminous. We can do that. That's the reason for this. Next one, show credit card form. So this is if you're going to do credit card processing, if you're going to link up with Authorize.net or CyberSource and require a transaction at checkout, then you will have to show this right here. This last one, allow, enable unpaid orders approval process. So this is the same thing, if you do an unpaid order, this will allow a unpaid order to still go through the same approval process. Below here, this show inventory numbers. This is actually really important because if you don't have this toggled, we will simply show a stock status. We will simply show in stock, out of stock. That's it. If you have this toggled, we'll actually show real numbers. So this is the difference. Some people prefer to not show the actual number of inventory in stock. Some people just prefer to show a simple out of stock or in stock. This is where you can set that at a warehouse group level, right here. Show inventory numbers or not. Other places that you would use the B2B portal. Okay, this is a less known notification that actually is very important. So staff to receive B2B portal invoice notifications, and you can actually schedule it. So this is the notification when somebody places an order request. Again, ignore some of the terms. Some of these terms are confusing. B2B portal invoice notifications. That's because if it comes through the portal, it automatically pushes an invoice, which then auto-generates a sales order. Yeah, I know it's confusing, but this is an important notification. Like if they're just wondering, hey, how do I get notified when somebody places an order? Well, this is it right here. And you can set it at a specific time. So this is how you receive notifications that somebody has input an order. Then some less known notifications are actually on the contacts. So when I add a new contact, I have the option to receive client quotation email, receive client purchase order email, receive client purchase order invoice email. So these are just for the contact to receive these types of notifications when they do an action. Honestly, quotation doesn't really apply. This is like really old Luminous code. So just ignore this. It doesn't really apply. This is just when they place an order, they'll get an email for it. And this is when the order comes through as an invoice to Luminous. They'll also get a notification. Yes, these are important. If that contact wants to get notified automatically that the order has come through, yes, it is important to actually check these when you're setting up the contact.